Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, I got a post here from Cointelegraph and they say, update, sentiment data shows Hedera, Chainlink and Avalanche ranked among the top real world asset in brackets RWA crypto projects by development activity. Okay, very impressive here, very impressive. So, look, when it comes to this, obviously there are other networks that are getting more actual tokenization happening, but what they're saying here is in terms of development activity. But I'll tell you why that is still a big deal. It's because when we're talking about development activity, that's probably people trying to create use cases via tokenization, right? So as I've always said, when it comes to a network, if a network can get one single use case that is very successful, that alone can ensure the future of that crypto or that network, right? So if let's just say, for example, this wouldn't happen, but I'm just going to give you a hypothetical. Let's just say Hedera was to get all future carbon credit use cases, right? So anything to do with carbon credits and reducing, carbon emissions, etc. Like any type of use case that was carbon related. Let's just say Hedera was to get all of that because it is the most carbon friendly network. That alone would be enough to ensure its future, because that's something that's going to continue to happen. That's not going to go away. It's always going to be there. So that would be enough to secure its future. Now, I don't believe that would be realistic, that Hedera would get all of that type of use case. I don't think any network is going to get all of any one particular type of use case. However, I do think that in that scenario, for example, when it comes to carbon credits, etc., I do think Hedera will get the lion's share because it's the best network choice for that particular use case. So when we're talking here about the developer activity, what I'm basically saying here in terms of RWA is, while it might not be the network that's got the most tokenization going on in terms of value and stuff like that, you never know if there could be a use case that's created that could absolutely change everything and lead people to want to then come and tokenize on Hedera. Right, and let's just be clear, even though Hedera isn't the most tokenized network at the moment, that doesn't mean that things can't change, right? Like over time, things could change. Like for example, I've shown you numerous videos now of Polygon developers leaving the Polygon network to come to Hedera. Same with Ethereum. I've shown you people who was once building on the Ethereum network, and then they've eventually come over to Hedera, because they've said, look, building on Ethereum is just not feasible, right? It's just not something that they can do when you've got a much better network out here like Hedera that can do everything Ethereum does and better. So this is where I'm saying for you guys, this is about the potential, right? It doesn't mean that, Hedera is just one or whatever. No, of course not. But what I'm showing you is that the potential is here. And so when you've got a lot of people choosing Hedera for the development activity, it shows you the confidence and the belief of what they think is the best network to try and do this with, right? That would obviously indicate to me that these developers feel like Hedera is the best choice. Because look, this is the thing. When it comes to people like tokenizing, for example, on Ethereum, the reason why people were doing this originally was just simply because Ethereum was the top 2 cryptocurrency out there. So it had the most liquidity, it had the next biggest user base, people using the network, etc. Obviously, you're not going to choose Bitcoin because Bitcoin is just a horrendous choice to use. Any type of utility based on Bitcoin is just silly. It's just not really feasible. It's not really great with Ethereum either, but they've done some upgrades and stuff like that. So they have been able to, tidy up their system a little bit more, their network. So it is better than what it was. But you've got, networks out here that are just inherently better. So for me, it's like, yes, okay, it's good that Ethereum are doing things to improve. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying here that Ethereum will just die out. Like, I think Ethereum can still have its place. But I do just think you're going to go with the naturally better option. If you've got to have a network that has to keep doing upgrades and things like that, okay, that's cool because they are getting the upgrades, but why not just choose a network that already has all these benefits, that already has all these clear advantages over the other network? So to me, that's evident from what you're seeing here. Do you see what I mean? Like, you've got the developers are using Hedera because clearly they must feel like it's the better network to choose. And just another thing to add on to this, I've kind of mentioned it before, but like, whether we are still in a bull run or not, I don't know. I'm not here to give you an answer on that. I'm really not sure. I've seen some analysts say that we are. I've seen some analysts say that we're not. But if we are, the theme of the bull run, what I was like hearing, is that it was going to be tokenization, which makes sense because tokenization is really being made a big deal of now at this point. And so if that is the case, and you can see here that, for example, Hedera is like the #1 network for developer activity with regards to RWA tokenization, then that should mean that Hedera stands to benefit greatly from that, right? That's what that would indicate. So that could be a huge positive for Hedera if we are still to be, in a bull run and have this all-season rally at some point. So just something else to bear in mind, just some food for thought there. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this. Chainlink I don't hold, Avalanche I do. Avalanche I personally will just be honest to say that's a network that I have utilized in the previous bull run, and I do like AVAX. I like Avalanche. I think that's a good network personally, so that's not surprising to see in there as well. But yeah, this is what I'm showing you, like, guys, you may be seeing Ethereum getting a lot of like tokenization done on it. I think that's just because it is the bigger network overall. But when it comes to people trying to make use cases and stuff like that, and trying to experiment with RWA tokenization and come up with new type of use cases and things like that and ideas, it seems like Hedera is the leading the charge when it comes to choosing what network they want to do these ideas on and these use cases. So for me, that says a lot in terms of what Hedera can do. I think that shows you that clearly the people have more confidence in using Hedera for this kind of stuff. So again, that could tell you how things could shape up in the future, right? It could be that the developer activity continues to expand, and then a lot of people leave these other networks and come over to Hedera, and then Hedera is like the most tokenized network possibly. Like, I'm not saying that's a guarantee. I'm just showing you like the potential here. So yeah, real great stuff to see here, and I thought I'd share this with you. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell. Take care.